Fan Dance is a great contest or festival piece. Now, it's rated as a grade 2, and it's a grade 2 on the Texas PML. It says it's about 2 minutes and 15 seconds long, and it's fairly easy to put together for several reasons. First of all, it's almost entirely pentatonic, which means you're only going to have 5 notes to deal with, only 5 notes to tune, right? Also, it comes with an optional third violin part, which might help you if you have some orchestrational issues. If you don't have enough violas, you can put some third violins on the parts. The cello and bass players double just about everything. So if you have only one bass player or maybe no bass players or not enough cellos or something like that, they're pretty much teaming up through this whole piece with one exception. Over here at this maestoso part, it actually, they start to split a little bit 2 measures beforehand in measure 34, but for the rest of it, they're in octaves for the most part. It also comes with a piano part that's optional, and the piano part can be very useful if you have somebody who's a strong pianist that can help reinforce pitch, and it can help reinforce rhythms, particularly in the pizzicato sections for your younger orchestras. Students respond well to Fan Dance, a lot of times just because it's different. And a lot of the pieces that Soon-Hee Newbold composes are very culturally oriented. Like, she'll pick different parts of the world and just do a fun little piece to celebrate their culture. So we can just go through the list of her catalog, starting with Appalachian Hymn, which takes place in Appalachia, and it's a beautiful piece of music. And then we can go on to Arabian Dreams, which is kind of like, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Saint-Saëns' Danse Bacchanale, except it's written so that it's a lot easier for kids to play, but it has sort of the same type of feel. She also wrote Calypso C and Celtic Sunrise, and I could just go right through the alphabet, but you kind of get the point. From what I know from reading the program notes, Soon-Hee Newbold has a background in film. She sometimes works as an actress or a producer or film composer, and so I think that she does a really good job of creating sort of these cinematic works where they bring a lot of visuals and a lot of imagery, and they all tell a story, and that's really important, especially for our younger players. If we look at the program notes, we kind of get an idea about what Soon-Hee Newbold wants for this piece, and she kind of talks about the evolution here, and then she kind of talks about how, you know, this brings up imagery of kimonos and geishas and calligraphy, you know, cherry blossom petals. But we get a clue to what this piece means right here, where it says, Fan Dance consists of one or more dancers with slow movements choreographed to lively music. Once we start to look through the score, we see some faster moving lines, and we see some slower moving lines. And the way I interpret this is the slower moving lines, and these get passed around quite a bit, the slower moving lines represent the choreography of the dancers, and the fast part represents the liveliness of the orchestra. A lot of times I think we get into the habit of skipping over the program notes, but a lot of times there's some really important information here, particularly in this bottom paragraph, where it says the eighth notes are short in contrast to legato quarter notes. Okay, you might not know that just from looking at the score because they're not marked short here. And the quarter notes aren't necessarily marked legato. If preferable, groups can utilize staccato or spiccato bowing techniques for the eighths. Keep the overall feeling of the piece light and playful, keeping the tempo steady, especially when playing pizzicato. Yeah, especially when playing pizzicato. Very good. I also like how she signs her name at the bottom, give it that personal touch. That's classy. Another feature of Fan Dance that makes it accessible to our younger musicians is that there are a lot of themes that are passed around the orchestra, and that makes it easier to rehearse. And there's also a lot of rhythmic motifs that come back over and over, and so we can rehearse those with everyone together, and it saves a lot of rehearsal time. So let's say you have a 2C or 3C varsity middle school group, and you really want to do well at contests. Let's say you have to play for a 2C, you got to do at least one grade 2 or higher, and you want to pick a grade 2 without over programming, because you still want to spend class time on technique, and you still want to work on sight reading because you're wanting to do well at this contest. This is going to be a winner for you because it's doable. You can get it done with this piece and not have to break your students' backs to be able to get a good rating. A 3C middle school in Texas, at least, you gotta play 2 grade 2s, and so this might be good for one of them, and might get you through that contest with that varsity orchestra that you're working on building, and maybe they're not ready for something that's exceptionally challenging, and you get to pick the music that you want to play with them, and you want to have a fun and easy time at contests. This might be a really good option for some of those groups. So I encourage you to give fan dance a chance with your groups. In the next video, we're going to talk about the structure of the piece and how to rehearse it effectively. So we'll see you next time. And it's fairly easy to put together for several reasons. And it's fairly easy to put together for several reasons. And it's fairly easy to put together for several reasons.